Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. That is right. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your favorite hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yeah, whatever. And that other guy on that other microphone, you might know him.
America. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy Chris America coming to you live this Wednesday, August the 21st here on 12OunceSportsRadio.com, where we are live every single morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Loudbeard, and do you have your pitchfork ready?
Sure. Yes, I do. I'm waving it right now angrily.
Do you have your kerosene-soaked towels to wrap around a stick to make a torch?
Yes, I do. Got a bottle of kerosene right here next to me in the studio.
Okay, good. It is time to storm the Sony castle. Loudbeard, did you hear the news?
Yep. It looks like Sony and Marvel aren't playing too well together, are they?
No. And luckily, they ruined this after Avengers, because I believe Spider-Man was an essential part. But it doesn't take away from the hope that I had for this new Spider-Man series, or this new Spider-Man timeline. And now I think they're going to mess it all up, Loudbeard.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely going to mess it all up. This is sad news for the entertainment world. It's sad news for Marvel fanboys all over the planet, and it's sad news just for entertainment sakes in general, because Sony does not want to play well with Marvel, and I'm sure it's a money thing, and I place this on Marvel and Disney also. I'm sure they don't want to pay the money that Sony's asking. Guess what? You're all going to make billions of dollars, so why don't you work it out? But now that Marvel is not involved, Spider-Man's going to fall off a cliff, just like he had time and time before. And this is sad. I can't even deal this morning.
Yeah. Loudbeard, I think Marvel has 5 to 6 movies that have made over $1 billion this year.
Yeah. Well, I think they've earned that, right? Like they had
they've earned it.
Yeah, and I
so
think
maybe we should be storming the Marvel castle, because if it's all about money, Disney, you've been printing money. You made Toy Story 4, that made $1 billion. You made Aladdin, that made $1 billion.
Yep.
You made Captain Marvel, $1 billion.
Yep.
You made Lion King, $1 billion.
Yep.
Let's see, Endgame, $1 billion. Did Spider-Man not make $1 billion?
I don't think so.
I'm sure it was close enough. I'm sure we can round up.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like 899 billion or 950 billion or million. It was a lot.
Yeah.
In the millions.
Star Wars, that's going to be $1 billion.
Oh, yep, it will be.
So what are we doing here? Money.
Yeah.
Money-wise. Like, I gotta wonder how much money they asked. Because Disney, you can afford it.
And I don't know all the intimate details of the negotiation, and I don't even care to know all the intimate details. All I know is that they need to figure this thing out. Now, it coming out that it's just done. Now, I hope this is just a negotiation tactic on one of the parts to still figure out how to make this work. But if it is truly done, as it's being reported, this is bad because I thought Spider-Man was going to be that one character that could really carry the MCU. Now, we talk about how Endgame was this billion-dollar movie. Well, it lost three pretty main characters in that movie. You know, Captain America retires, Iron Man, he, passes away, and Black Widow, she passes away. So moving forward, they need big names to take the mantle for these characters. And Captain America and Iron Man were the two biggest characters in MCU. So Spider-Man jumps in, and he's now should become the biggest character. He should be the main focal point, at least in my opinion. And Marvel, you're ruining that. You can only take so many C players and make them into big time movies before eventually it just dries up. You got to have the Spider-Man with all the cool Spider-Man villains. That is an essential part of you moving forward. It just really is. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, but maybe that's what Marvel's thinking. They're a little cocky. They're thinking, we made Black Panther, who was sort of a side character, into a huge success. We made Thor, who was very much a side character, at least in the mainstream world of America. We didn't really know who Thor was. I remember when Thor came out, I was like, this is going to be stupid. Boy, was I wrong. Because of what the original Thor looked like, he was kind of dweeby, right?
Oh yeah. He was kind of out there.
So maybe they're thinking, hey man, we did 8 years without, maybe 6 years without Spider-Man, or a name like Spider-Man, a name like X-Men. I mean, they weren't left with much when they started. They had basically what you said, the C players of the Marvel world, because X-Men was taken, Hulk was taken. I don't know how they got Hulk back, because Fox had Hulk. I guess they just stopped making movies. They didn't have Fantastic Four. They didn't have Spider-Man, like we mentioned. And I feel like Spider-Man was probably the most well-known superhero over the last few decades of Marvel. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So the biggest name they had on the roster was Captain America, right? Would you argue with that?
Yeah. I mean, Hulk, Captain America, yeah, those were the big names.
Yeah. So, but I mean, more people like Captain America than they like Hulk. Hulk, I feel like, is a niche guy.
Yeah, he's a bit player.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who he is, but he's still
Right.
more of a bit player. He can't carry a whole movie very well.
And then Iron Man's always been big, but I feel like Marvel made him even bigger than what he was before.
Oh, absolutely. Before the Iron Man movie, it was kind of like, okay, Iron Man, I've heard of him. He's a comic. But it wasn't like Spider-Man. It really wasn't. Iron Man wasn't as big as Spider-Man before these movies.
So maybe they're thinking, I mean, the only one that we couldn't do much with was Ant-Man, but we still made tons of money off of it anyways that we could make a sequel. So we could do this with anybody. We don't need Spider-Man, I think, is what they're thinking of.
Yeah, and there could be some arrogance to that, right? There could be that thought that we can make gold out of anything at this point. And you kind of brought up the point that now they have X-Men and Fantastic Four, which they didn't have before. So if you really tap into that X-Men universe and you bring Fantastic Four into all of this, you really have a lot of source material, and there's a lot of other just obscure comic book characters. Guardians of the Galaxy, we didn't even really mention, but that was a totally obscure comic that they turned into gold. And we've got a third installation that should be coming out in the next 3 to 4 years. And it's one of those situations where, yeah, maybe Marvel is getting a little arrogant. Maybe they are getting a little cocky. They realize, you know what, they don't necessarily need Spider-Man to carry them. They have all of these other, I guess, sources that they can pull from, which is all 100% true. But I still, something to me feels like it's missing if Spider-Man is not a part of the MCU. He's one of the big ones, and there's so many different ways they can go. There's the multiverse with Spider-Man. again, I mentioned the villains. They have that Sinister Six villain lineup that is just such an amazing villain lineup. I don't know, Chris America. It doesn't feel right to me. Hopefully these negotiations pick back up at some point. Even if it's a couple years down the road, it would be nice to see another Spider-Man at some point being part of Marvel.
Now let me ask you this: we're sitting here, we're talking about money, we're talking about arrogance. What if Sony was like, okay, it's not really about money, and for you, it's not really about arrogance. What we do, since we're giving you our guy, why don't you from time to time loan us one of your guys? And Marvel was like, no, we don't want to do that.
Maybe. I mean, I think it's just about the money, though. I mean, they
think
could.
So? You don't
Yeah.
think Sony would want to be like, hey, we want to borrow, I don't know, Nightwing or something. No, Nightwing's a Batman thing. I don't know, Hawkeye. Make a Hawkeye movie. I'm just spitballing here.
All right, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, I mean, they could have done that. I'm sure Marvel would say no. You're right. Marvel would absolutely say no. What I think I read, and I'm probably going to butcher this, so I apologize to all the listeners out there that are huge Spider-Man fans right now. But, I see that Memphis Spence suggested on our Twitter account at Scout Team Radio. Make sure you always hit us up. He said he can. He sees a Marvel Sony draft coming up. Okay, Friday we could do Marvel versus Sony. I'm pretty sure Marvel would kick Sony's ass. Just putting that out there.
I just thought of this. What if Sony was like, okay, we can let you have Spider-Man, but we are really good with this new animated Spider-Man, and we would love to do the same with Thor and Hulk and Iron Man. So what do you say? We'll give you Spider-Man, and from time to time you let us make these animated movies. And then Marvel was like, no.
Yeah. That could have been the arrogance. Anyway, what I was going to say is I think what the issue was is they wanted Disney to pony up more money in the production costs. And so I think Disney was like, nah, I don't want to do this.
Disney's like, we're struggling right now. We only made 6 instead of 8. Spider-Man didn't really make $1 billion, so we feel like it came under budget.
Yeah, and that's where the arrogance comes in. So, but I would love to see the way Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out. If Sony was given some of the Marvel comics, like a Thor, like a Hulk, and did something like that, and it came out just as good, or if not better, oh man, you know how the possibilities would be limitless from that. It would be amazing. I couldn't stand it, Chris America. You have brilliant ideas this morning.
Yeah, I'm looking at Twitter. It's trending big too. The Spider-Man story. Everybody's blaming Sony.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's fair or not. I'll be honest. I don't know if that's fair because Sony's
It
just
takes
saying
two for a disagreement.
It does. Sony's just saying we want a little bit more action in this. So
it's almost like when there's a holdout or a lockout in sports, for whatever reason, we always blame the players for not playing. But it's also the owners too. The owners are the ones that are not agreeing to the players' terms. So it takes two to tangle, or it takes two to tango. So, but for whatever reason, we blame the millionaires instead of the billionaires for us not getting our sports.
It's true. It's true.
And right now, even though Sony is a billion-dollar company, this is basically like the millionaires in a fight with the billionaires as far as Sony versus Disney goes.
It is. It is. And it's going to continue on. This is going to be a hot topic, and I don't necessarily feel that it's one side that's at fault. I'm going to blame both sides because it's really, you know who loses in the very end? The fans. The fans lose every time. It's just like in sports.
Yep. But like we said, at least Marvel knows they can give us whatever we want without Spidey, and we'll make do. And then hopefully Sony makes a decent Spider-Man movie. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope
they did good with Into the Spider-Verse. So maybe that should give us hope that Sony's, turned a corner.
Yeah. Okay, I can live with that. Now, since we're talking movies, I'm going to continue to dive into the movie realm because there was a lot of movie news that came out yesterday, Chris America. There was just so much about different movies that came out. Now, one thing I want to visit with you is Keanu Reeves, one of your favorite actors, right?
Oh,
you love
I know where
Keanu.
you're going with this. Yep. Mm-hmm. Keanu's the man.
So,
John Wick.
you love John Wick. I like the first one. I probably need to watch it
Speed.
again. I probably would like it more after watching it again. The whole puppy
Yeah.
thing, it's sad. It's still sad. I still cry at night over this puppy situation.
You couldn't get over that part, huh?
Yeah. But Keanu's been lately. He's been feeling a little nostalgic, if you will. He goes back and he teams back up with his former co-host or co-show person, and they decided to do Bill
Co-star?
and Ted. Co-star. That's what I meant. It's early.
Mhm.
It's early.
Yeah,
My brain's
no, I got
still
you.
waking up.
I got you.
So Alex Winters. And so Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves, they team back up, and they're like, we're going to do another Bill and Ted, and you see it all over social media, and you're like, man, Keanu's really pulling deep into the bag of tricks going to one of his like original OG big-time movies. So that's crazy. But now I saw another announcement yesterday, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, but this is the movie that I didn't really see people clamoring for, and that was another Matrix, Chris America. Matrix 4 is being announced. It is going to star Keanu, and it's going to have Carrie-Anne Moss in it, so we're going to have some of the original actors, and it's going to be directed by Lana Wachowski, who is the same director from the previous movies, and the Wachowski brothers are the ones that wrote the whole Matrix series. So it's got a lot of the original stuff involved with making this movie. But did you need another Matrix? That's what I need to ask you. Can you deal with this?
We talked a lot about how Lost disappointed us, Dexter disappointed us. One of the big stories from this year, I didn't see it, but you saw it. But the end of
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones disappointed everybody. I gotta say, out of all the trilogies that were written to be a trilogy, not one of those movies where the first movie did good, they made lots of movies, and they're like, well, let's make a second one, and then, let's make a third one. That's kind of like what The Hangover did. That's not a true trilogy. But when a movie sets out to be a trilogy, or a quadrilogy, or whatever it's set out to be, they usually do really well because they write it out in time instead of just trying to make stuff up because they made lots of money. The Matrix, on the other hand, God, what a disappointing storyline, plot line. It never lived up to the first movie, did it?
No. Now, and it may have been written as a trilogy, but I think that first movie was kind of like, let's just see how this flies before we write the other two. And then the other two were written for that. The first Matrix, just a phenomenal movie, caught moviegoers off guard and became just a sensation right off the bat. So then they're like, okay, let's go ahead and finish the trilogy. Let's do the other two. Man, not what you were expecting. Very disappointing. Just jumped the shark. So I don't know how you go to a 4, and I guess it's going to have to be like a new storyline, like just something completely different. But yeah, and I would say out of movies that were highly anticipated, the Matrix sequels were definitely those that disappointed something fierce.
Yeah, I can only think of like chapters 1 through 3 in Star Wars that were worse.
Yeah, those were pretty bad. I still went and watched them at the theaters because Star Wars for life. You know how I roll.
So I'm going through his list of movies, and I'm thinking, okay, we're bringing back Bill and Ted. We're bringing back The Matrix. What about we going to do Point Break next?
Yeah, well, they just did
no Patrick Swayze, though. No Patrick Swayze.
But they just did a remake of Point Break without Keanu. So I think you got to just let that one. Yeah. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, but still, it was,
okay,
a remake
maybe
of...
what about getting Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves back together with a chain reaction movie?
We might have something here.
Maybe we can get old Sandra Bullock and him back together. We can make not only Speed, but we could also do The Lake House.
We could do it together, like speeding through the lake house. It would be beautiful. Romantic and an action thriller at the same time.
Trying to go through some of his other... Oh, what about A Walk in the Clouds? Another good mid-90s. No? No?
I don't think we need another one of those. Sorry.
It's funny because you go through his movies, and he has like a great movie, and then he goes through a lull, and then he gets in, and he's like, great movie, and then he goes through a lull, and then it's like, great movie again. So are we in this lull period of Keanu Reeves again? Oh, here we go, Loudbeard. This one I know you'll approve of. Let's bring back the replacements.
Yes. See, that's a classic.
It'll work
film.
because we're coming up on a lockout soon in the NFL, so it'll be current. It'll be topical.
It will be. It'll absolutely will be. Oh man. So I got one more movie news story, and then Memphis Spence is throwing a story out. He's like, "Hey guys, get back to sports." You see Memphis Spence on Twitter? You hear him?
I mean, we got back to sports. I brought back up replacements. That's a sports movie.
There you go. All right.
Wait, Keanu Reeves was in Toy Story 4?
He had to have been I was gonna say he had to have been a voice. Well, it's animated. Yeah, everybody's a voice. Like that was a dumb thing for me to say. It happens.
Who was in Toy Story? I never saw Toy Story 4, so I wouldn't know.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you need to see Toy Story 4. Maybe you would know a little bit more if you just saw the dang movie. Well, Chris America, I do need to say to you, this whole Jay-Z situation, and Memphis Spence is tweeting at us. So let's bring this up. This could be something we talk about here before we get into the commercial break. This story is very complex. So as you may or may not be aware, we haven't really talked about this a lot on the show. I think maybe it got brought up briefly the other day, but Jay-Z, he's kind of made a deal with the devil, as some people are believing this to be, where Jay-Z has made a deal with Roger Goodell, and he's going to be not only the entertainment, so his Rock Nation is going to be in charge of the entertainment for the Super Bowl and for the beginning of games and all this stuff. So his company is going to make out, but he's also going to be on this committee. And I don't have it in front of me what exactly it's going to be called, but it's basically kind of like an equality, something for the players, something like a social justice type committee that Jay-Z is going to head up. Now, it's bringing up a lot of news because Kaepernick's not really involved with this, and he's been one of those guys that has been the face of social justice. So there's been a lot of talk about this, and now a lot of players are criticizing a lot of current players, a lot of former players. Some are on Jay-Z's side, some are not. So we're creating this divided culture right now with the reports that everything's coming out. Somebody that's very vocal about it, that is outspoken, is Eric Reed. He's your Carolina Panther player. He was also one of the ones that was kneeling at the very beginning with Kaepernick when he was on the 49ers. And he was he reacted very unfavorably to this. Something he said is Jay-Z claimed to be a supporter of Colin Kaepernick, wore his jersey, told people not to perform at the Super Bowl because of the treatment that the NFL did to Colin, and now he's going to be part owner. It's kind of despicable. So this is something Eric Reed said. So this is like the sentiment of what the players have. So another player that came out and said something negative towards Jay-Z was Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills, the wide receiver for the Dolphins. He comes out and says something negative. So what does his owner or his coach, Brian Flores, do at practice? He plays 8 Jay-Z songs in a row shortly after Kenny Stills talks crap about Jay-Z. What do you think about this coach trolling his player like this? Is this taking it a notch too far?
Yeah, I would have to say like nothing says that he was trolling him, but I don't understand why anybody would go 8 straight Jay-Z songs. I always like to mix up my playlist when I'm working out or I guess practicing or anything like that. Now the headline Memphis Spence sent is a little misleading. It says that Dolphin receiver Kenny Stills criticized Jay-Z for his partnership with the NFL, but that's not what he criticized him for. He criticized for what Jay-Z said, which was we're moving past the kneeling like he ever So basically the quote is some of the ways he answered his questions talking about we're moving past the kneeling like he ever protested. He's not an NFL player. He's never been on a knee. Choosing to speak for people like he had spoken to the people. Wonder how many common people that he knows or has spoken to. I wonder if he's read my Facebook comments or my Instagram comments or some of the things people say to me. To say we're moving past something, it didn't seem very informed. So he was more or less criticizing Jay-Z for the way he answered questions at that press conference than he is for the fact of, having a partnership with the NFL. Because when I read that headline, I thought, wow, Kenny Stills is a little bit of a hypocrite because he's in the NFL. Like, he has a partnership with the NFL. So how can he criticize somebody else for having a partnership with the NFL, but that's where you got to click on the story and read more, I guess. As far as the coach is trolling him, unless the coach comes out with a good answer, I don't see how that's not trolling him. Unless it's just he's, didn't hear anything and he's like, hey, let's play Jay-Z music to celebrate our new partnership with him.
Yeah,
that's the only excuse I could think of.
I don't think there is an excuse. I mean, like, you can make excuses, but I don't know that any of them are valid excuses, right? Like, you can say whatever you want. But the fact is he played 8 Jay-Z songs after Kenny Stills was on record for criticizing Jay-Z, which to me is just in poor taste. But one of the other players actually came out and defended the coach and said, no, the guy's always been a huge Jay-Z fan. He always likes playing Jay-Z. So, I mean, I guess
something
maybe
that's always happened, and now it's like the media is trying to make this story. It's kind of like you don't notice, a Prius until you own a Prius. You don't notice Dodge Rams until you own a Dodge Ram. So maybe the media doesn't notice that Jay-Z's been playing at every single practice until Jay-Z becomes a story.
Yeah,
and Kenny Stills becomes a story. Because I can see a coach saying, dude, I don't even watch the news. I don't even pay attention to that stuff, especially during preseason. Like, coaches are more busy analyzing game film and practice film and figuring out how to narrow down this to a 52-man roster. So I can see a coach coming out and saying, I had no idea Kenny Stills even said anything about it. If a coach said that, I could buy that, especially in this time of year.
I agree. And now, if it were you, like if you were the coach, you would be playing Chumbawamba over and over and over again.
Well, yeah, because I want my players.
Well,
not only that, but I want my players to know that when they get knocked down, it's okay to get up again.
Yeah, absolutely. The little tub thumping going on.
And when you're a Dolphin, when you're a Miami Dolphin player, you get knocked down quite a bit.
Yeah, and I don't want to bury the lead here because we might have just buried the entire story. But in all fairness, Kenny Skills, fantastic nickname for Kenny. Kenny Skills.
Yeah, it is.
You gave him a fantastic.
I
did.
Gave
him a fantastic nickname, and you didn't even realize it.
No, I did. After I said it, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually pretty cool." K Skills.
Yeah,
call him K Skills.
K Skills. There we go. I like it. I will say that the optics here is that Jay-Z's selling out, right? This is the optics. The optics is he's no longer in touch with the normal everyday guy because he is becoming that epic, that billionaire. We talk about the millionaires versus the billionaires. Jay-Z's getting to be the billionaire guy. He's not the millionaire guy anymore. So he's losing touch with the players and with the normal everyday Joe type of guy. He's trying to say that he is, but he's making the partnership. He's becoming co-owner, and he's big money now. And that's what it's about, is that big money. So I think players are losing a little bit of respect for him. And what Kenny Skills is trying to say, I'm calling him that from now on. I can't even say the other word now. Stills. That doesn't even roll off the tongue. But what the player, what a guy like Kenny Stills is trying to say as a player is like, dude, Jay-Z, you weren't a player. You aren't one of us. You aren't part of this brotherhood. Like, don't come in and act like you're the ringleader and that you're going to save everything because you're a cool guy and you make great music. That's not really what we want, because Colin Kaepernick was that guy that was the face of the NFL, because guess what? He was the player. He was the one in the middle of it, and he was the guy that needed to be about it. And you were all for it when you were like, oh, let's not play the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm going to wear his jersey. Let's do all that. But now that you're part of it and you're making money, you're all like, hey, let me produce the Super Bowl show. It's a hypocrite, right? Like, they're calling him out. Kenny Stills is calling him out as being a hypocrite because that's what he is.
Yeah, and I think the biggest part was the fact that Jay-Z said, I think we've moved past kneeling, and I think it's time to go into actionable items. And guys like Kenny Stills, Colin Kaepernick, Ed Reed, they're all sitting there thinking, we don't just kneel. Like, we've been donating money. We've been donating, our time and efforts towards kids in the inner city. What have you been doing, Jay-Z? What actions have you taken? Now, I don't know what the answer is to that for Jay-Z. Maybe he's been doing the same. I don't know. I'm not going to sit there and accuse him. But that's what it seems like, that the NFL players are kind of taking offense to what he said there. That it's just like, oh, you guys are just kneeling. You're not really doing much else.
All right, you heard it here first. Chris America is the first to report that Jay-Z has absolutely done nothing for social justice.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He's
not
a selfish
donated a
billionaire.
penny. He's
He
so selfish.
He probably liked cigars with $100 bills in front of poor people.
He does, and then he spats on them. You heard it here first from Chris America.
Yes. He spits out the end of the cigar at them when he bites it off.
It's unreal.
It's unbelievable, Your Honor.
It is unbelievable, Your Honor. So, Chris America, in the world of fighting, in the world of wrestling, in the world of acting, there's a lot of lines that get blurred. But one of our favorite fighters, one of our favorite wrestlers, one of our favorite UFC legends just had an accident on a set that may disfigure this fighter forever. On the flip side, I'll tell you exactly who that is. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst." Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Good morning and welcome back. Thank you all for listening in. And thank you for staying tuned for our dynamic second half of Scout Team Radio. We come at you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. You can catch it here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network, and we're part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're all over the place. You can find us anywhere. If you can't catch us live at 6 a.m., I get it. It's a little early. It's a little early for me, too. Don't feel bad. That's okay. You can go on demand. You can catch our podcast. Go anywhere you find a podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, in Stitcher, Google Play, any of those places. Search Scout Team Radio, and you will get the daily show on podcast. Make sure you check that out. Lastly, hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up. This morning we have Memphis Spence coming in hot with the Jay-Z Kenny Skills story. We appreciate that, Memphis Spence. So you can hit us up at Scout Team Radio. We'll talk about your topics, your subjects right here live on air. We'll also give you some treats. I teased a little story before the break about a wrestling legend, about an actress extraordinaire having a little accident on set. So I just tweeted a picture of that accident. The result of that accident. And you can see what that is if you hit us up at Scout Team Radio, so make sure you take a look. But without further ado, to pay off this tease, I do have to say, Rowdy Ronda Rousey has a little accident on set of Fox's 911 as she was recording. I guess it was the first take of the day, and something fell on her finger. They finished the take, and they said, okay, we're good. And Ronda's like, I'm so used to performing live that you just keep going, you fight through the pain. And afterwards, they found that her finger was pretty severely damaged. A picture of that damagedness is out there on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. So if you want to see the actual picture, you can go see it on our Twitter page currently right now. But yeah, it's pretty gross. They're trying to reattach the bone and the finger and all that fun stuff. But
yikes.
Yow. Wow. Rhonda. She doesn't look too happy either in the picture if you check it out.
All right, Loudbeard. I want to play a little game with you.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like that game.
I'm on a really good hashtag called Best TV Show Line Ever.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name you, or I'm going to give you the TV show line, and you're going to tell me what the show is from.
All right. I think I'm ready for this. I'm
Okay,
mentally prepared.
I'll start off with the softball,
Okay.
and it is one of the greatest lines. It's one of the ones that I quote from time to time, especially when people talk about rivers and vans. But it's, you're going to be living in a van down by the river.
Oh, very.
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
That was from Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
that was
Saturday
the
Night Live.
Chris Farley, Man Down by the River. I don't know what the name of the skit was, but yeah, that was classic. That's good old SNL.
Okay, you ready for the next one? This will be another softball, I believe. The truth is out there.
X-Files. That's
Yeah.
Yep. Mulder and Scully. Yep, they're classics. I like
All
it.
right. Here's the next one. Where are my dragons?
Where are my dragons? I'm gonna have to say Game of Thrones on that
Yeah?
one for 500, Alex.
Here's another one. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Ooh, screw you guys. I'm going home. That's gonna be South Park. That's going to
Yep.
be the classic South Park animated TV series that was on Comedy Central. Probably still is. I have no idea.
All right, let's see if we can get a little bit harder on this one. That's what she said. Let's see. Jane, stop this crazy thing.
That's what she said.
That would be Jane the Virgin.
No, that's going to be from the Jetsons.
Oh, the word Jane just threw me off. I'm like, oh, it's
The
got to be
word
Jane the
Jane threw you
Virgin.
off?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking the Jetsons at all.
All right,
So, yep.
I'm going to give you a little hint here. This is a comic book TV show. It ran recently. I don't know if it's still on anymore. It was a show that I watched for a little while and then kind of got off of it. It is You Have Failed This City.
You have failed this city.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Gotham?
It's Arrow.
Oh, I knew it was one of those like DC type ones. I was thinking it was the. Okay, good. Okay, well
All right,
played.
I'm gonna do my best to help you out with this one by doing the impression, and it's from another classic cartoon of us growing up. You idiot!
Oh, you're Ren and Stimpy. That's
Yeah, man.
good. I like it. The impression made it though. They're well played.
If I would have said just you idiot, you would have been like, oh, that could have been anything.
Yeah, the impression made the quote.
All right, here we go. Here's another classic movie. You hear that? You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey. I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Oh, I can picture it. I can't put it out there. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to pass. I don't know this one.
Sanford and Son.
Ah, yep,
Every time read, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
yep. Oh, that was a good one too.
There's a couple of ones that are very well easily. There was another Game of Thrones one that I liked. It was I Drink and Know Things. That's always a classic. Another one, I don't know if you'll guess it. I'll say it. I don't know if you'll guess it because I don't know if I would have guessed it, but it's one of those like occultish type shows where either you've seen it and you love it or you've just never seen it before. But the line is, "I'm afraid I just blew myself."
Is that from Freaks and Geeks?
No, it's from Arrested Development. where
Oh.
the brother-in-law is like all painted in blue, and he's saying "I blew myself" as in BLUE.
Yep.
Like I said, it's one of
Okay.
those shows where either you've seen it or you haven't seen it. I've never seen somebody
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've got a couple episodes.
Yeah, that's how I am. I have caught a couple episodes, and I want to like go back and just binge watch it all the way through because it's a really hilarious show.
It is a hilarious show.
I haven't.
All right, here we go.
Lazy.
Maybe we can make this the last one. Nothing stops this train.
Nothing stops this train.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you got me. Is that Thomas the Tank Engine?
That's Walter White in Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that quote, but it's a
All right,
great show.
you mentioned this show yesterday on our show. The line is, "These pretzels are making me thirsty."
These pretzels are making me thirsty. Wow.
Now we're getting too hard, huh?
Nah,
All right, same show. This line should definitely give it to you. No soup for you.
Oh, Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld.
Yes. So yeah, the "no soup for you" is a much bigger quote from that, but I can see the other one. These pretzels are making me thirsty. A show about nothing. It really was a show about nothing.
All right, what about Joey doesn't share food?
I have no idea. Yeah.
That's a Friends
Friends?
line.
Is it Friends?
Friends,
Joey.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I should have got
Yeah.
that one.
Some more classic ones like "Beam Me Up, Scotty." That one's an obvious.
Sorry, got distracted there for a second. What'd you say? Say what?
Beam Me Up, Scotty.
Oh no, never heard of that Star Trek.
And then here's an old classic one: "Jane, you ignorant slut."
Oh, why? No, it's not coming to me, but I can see it.
The GIF looks like, what is his name? He's on SNL. He was in Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
So it looks like an SNL Dan Aykroyd bit. Maybe the news bit where he says, "Jane, you ignorant slut."
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, well played.
Now it's just a lot of Friends and a lot of Seinfeld. Oh, here we go. Another classic one. "Hello, nurse."
Animaniacs.
Maniacs. We have paper play contracts. We're Downey to the max. All right, Loudbeard, what else you got for us today? I kind of ran out of steam on that hashtag. That was a fun game, though.
Yeah, definitely a fun game. All right, well, I'll talk a little bit more MMA for you. Well, I guess this is a mix between wrestling and MMA. So Kurt Angle, I don't know if this was an interview or what, but somebody was talking to him, and they asked him about Brock Lesnar, and they said, "Do you ever feel like Brock Lesnar will get back into the octagon?" And Kurt Angle said, "No, he probably won't, or it doesn't seem like he wants to, unless he can fight John Jones. If he can fight John Jones, he would want to get back because that's the one fight he did not get that he wants, and he still wants.
I think
it.
that's the one payday he didn't get that he wants.
It probably is. So this kind of quote, whatever the exact quote was, this was paraphrased, obviously, but whatever the exact quote was, got put out on Twitter, on like official Twitter page of somebody that did this interview. And John Jones, he definitely pops back on it. He never wants to be quiet on these things. He said, "Brock is way too slow. I'll embarrass him." So
Yeah.
John Jones is coming out and saying, like, don't do this, don't do it. But
Don't
is this
embarrass
gonna
yourself like this.
Yes. Is this going to spark a possible Brock Lesnar return?
Well, actually, Brock Lesnar came back and said, "Up your nose with a rubber hose."
Yeah. That was also a classic TV show line.
Yeah.
There you go.
Vinny
John
Barbarino.
Travolta at his best. Yes.
Yeah. Vinny Barbarino. Such a great name.
Yeah. And Brock Lesnar, he's still a name, but man, he's old, right? Like we don't want to see him come back. I don't know that he's got enough
I
juice
think that fight
left.
would sell. I think a lot of people would want to see Brock Lesnar's, size and strength over Jones's, lankiness, tallness, reach, and just overall, he's just a more skilled fighter than than Brock Lesnar is. If Lesnar wins, it would be because he overpowered him to the mat and just pounded his face in. But if it was, fighting skill versus fighting skill, John Jones is just a billion times better of a fighter than Brock Lesnar could ever dream of being.
Yeah, not that Brock Lesnar's like a bad fighter, but he just isn't skilled like these other guys are. He just isn't.
No,
the reason he's had any success is because of his size and strength, not because of his skill.
His skill, yeah. When he started fighting really skilled fighters, you saw the difference. Guys that could keep up with his strength, you saw that he was just out of his element when he fought those kind of guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they had to find like a certain type of fighter that would work.
Like I think Kane ended up embarrassing him, and I want to say Junior Dos Santos embarrassed him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he really hasn't had that successful of a career in MMA, but he was one of the first big-time WWE stars to cross over. Typically before it was, hey, this MMA guy is going to cross over and become a WWE star. When you had the Ken Shamrocks and you had the there was a ton of them. I can probably name 100 if I'm not sitting here on the microphone.
But Ken Shamrock's the biggest crossover back in the late 90s.
Yeah, he was.
When he came from UFC to WWE.
Yeah, that was that big first big one. And since then, you've seen those crossovers. And, Ronda Rousey's the big one now. May her figure rest in peace.
I mean, we've seen CM Punk go over and get himself embarrassed.
Yeah, these guys aren't designed for that. They're built to be WWE wrestlers in the entertainment world, which is a completely different world. Now, they have the size and strength. They have, agility, but they just don't have that technical skill that a fighter needs to be able to compete at that high level. Right, they don't.
They're fighting against guys that have been training in jiu-jitsu and wrestling and boxing and kickboxing and other fighting styles. Now, some of these wrestlers, they do have the wrestling aspect. They come from college wrestling and everything, and they're great wrestlers. But when that's all you have in your bag of tricks, which is basically all Brock Lesnar had, Brock Lesnar is an elite wrestler. When I watched him wrestle guys down to the ground on the mat, I was thoroughly impressed. But his stand-up game, not so much.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there. But I will say, if John Jones fights Brock Lesnar, I'd watch that. That'd be a worthwhile fight to me, just because of the names. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to see the two body sizes go against each other.
Yeah,
see how Jones handles that overpowering muscle weight, because there's got to be a huge difference. Although I don't know what John Jones's walk-around weight is, though. We know what he weighs when he goes into the ring, but he could be walking around at 225, 230.
Interesting. Okay, so right now, it looked like we had a tweet coming in. I'll have to go back and look at that. Man with the golden mic, is he awake right now? Is he awake?
I didn't see that.
Oh, maybe. Sometimes does this happen on your phone? I'm going to get on a tangent here. Twitter gives me an alert when somebody tweets.
Yeah.
And they tweeted like 4 hours ago or 8 hours ago, and they're like, oh, look who just tweeted. But it one of those push notifications.
It's an old notification.
And you're like, what the hell? This guy tweeted 8 hours ago. I don't care about that. I think it might have been one of those situations. Anyway.
What was he saying? Or did you lose it?
Now I got to pull it up to see. What does it say? Doesn't mean you have to stop, bro. Right on. And it's got a bag FSU status. So, yeah, somebody's tweeting at the FSU bag. The best player on your team, you got to definitely give them the support.
I missed the old FSU bag. I completely forgot about the FSU bag. Does that make a return this year?
It has to.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, my gosh.
I
know the chain is making it. The Miami chain's coming back.
Yeah. We need to get that turnover backpack on that FSU sideline.
Well, I have one.
We'll dress up like trainers, run out there, and be like, oh, yeah, here you go, buddy. Just hand it to the cornerback that got the interception and then run off. Yeah,
I'm in. We're going to make this happen. We'll call it the Scout Team Coup.
God. Those are the things that you loved, but you forgot about, and then somebody reminds you, and you just have all that joy coming back of the FSU turnover bag, the old Merce.
The old
and
Merce.
then And then that Twitter handle, the FSU Twitter handle bag.
Here, I got one more MMA quote for you. Conor McGregor, he congratulates Nate Diaz on his big win. He said, 3 years to the day, myself and this Mexican animal went to war. He's very racist on this stuff, isn't he? Congrats on the win this weekend, Nate. It was motivating to see it for my own comeback. I don't blame you not mentioning me for the trilogy bout post-fight. You know what I'm like when I get going. Vicious. I love the round 3 style from round 1 that you implemented. It's what I was hoping you would implement for this bout and was glad to see you do it. I'll be prepared for it when we go again, if we go again. If not, respect always, a war for the ages. No BS talk, just real S. You think
I don't need
Conor's
no
trying
ifs. I don't need no motivating me. Dude, just stop fighting old people and get in the damn ring or shut the hell up. God, I
He's
can't
working
stand
on his
Conor
comeback.
McGregor.
I know. I knew
I'm
that
sure
one would
he
get you
is.
going. I knew that one would get you going.
It's just that's all he does. That's all he does now. Is he just talks and talks and talks about who he's gonna fight, or don't get me started, or you know how I get riled up. You know how I punch old men when they're not looking because they said my whiskey was trash. Like, dude, just either get in the ring or go away. I'm getting over the whole Conor McGregor shtick, and I hope the rest of America is too. Like, I hope more and more people start telling this guy either get in the ring or shut up. We don't care anymore.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
completely
don't talk
agree.
to a guy who just dominated another UFC fighter in the ring. Don't talk about him when you're just sitting there at bars punching old people.
Speaking of old people, speaking of getting tired of someone's shtick,
I feel like I'm about to be personally attacked.
Larry King files for his 7th divorce.
Oof.
7th.
That guy would probably be a billionaire, but 7 divorces. Oof.
You think you'd learn your lesson at that point? Like, it's 7,
Yeah.
especially when you have that money. You know, when you have, and I don't know how much money Larry King has, but we're going to say it's in the good amount of millions, right? It's not like 2 million. He's probably got a good amount of millions of dollars. Now, he may be a
I'd say
prenup
he's
guy.
double-digit millions.
Yeah, he could be a prenup guy. I don't know. He could be. But he seems like he marries these really young women, and then all of a sudden, divorce gets filed. So then he looks for the next young woman. Yeah, I don't know if that shtick's still working. He's getting super old.
I have a story that says he's filing for his 8th divorce. So maybe he got married and then is now going through another divorce in between the time that you read the
this
story.
is what happens. My story's from yesterday, and since yesterday, it's already happened where he's filed another divorce because he's gotten married since then. I can't keep up with it, Chris America. This is insanity.
Okay, so this is weird because the headline says 8th, the story says 7th.
Okay. See, this is clickbait now. You just got you got taken for.
I did.
Now that's fake news right there. That is fake news.
I guess this is not their first time either.
Oh, really?
This is so this makes sense. So it's his 7th wife, but his 8th divorce because these two have divorced once before. So they were a couple, and then they wedded in 97 and then filed for divorce, and then they reconciled after a spat in 2010, and in 2016 both took to cable's TV Hallmark channel to dispel rumors of infidelity.
Okay, nobody cares. I mean, Larry King, other chick, you can do whatever you want. Larry King's always going to get divorced in the end.
Her name is Sean King. Oh, wow, he married a Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback.
Wow. That ended in disappointment, just like every other Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback.
Her middle name is Southwick. Is that her? I'm wondering if that's her. That's got to be her maiden name.
Yeah, that's probably her maiden name. So
7 wives, 8 divorces.
I would say that's a record, but I actually would like to know what is the record for most divorces of all time. Like,
Well, it would have been, what was it, King Henry, but he decided that, loophole to divorce is just to behead your wives.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a way to do it. It's actually a safe way to do it.
And you don't lose half of your stuff when you do it that way.
Now you lose half of your head.
Well, you don't. She does.
All right, so I just Googled this for Google's sake. We got 1 minute left. Glenn Wolfe, also known as Scotty Wolf. Okay, so he's born in 1908. He lived through 1997. Was a Baptist minister who resided in Blythe, California. He was famous for holding the record for the largest number of monogamous marriages, 29. His shortest marriage lasted 19 days, and his longest lasted 11 years. So, yeah, 29 marriages. So I'm assuming there was 28 divorces in there, but I guess there could have been 29. He could have died single. It doesn't say specifically how many divorces, but yeah, about that. Let's see. He was survived by his 30th wife. Okay.
Interesting.
Wow.
So I guess that this couple now, they didn't get divorced back in 97. They just filed for it, so they filed twice. The person King has divorced twice is another woman named Eileen Atkins, and I believe it's his first wife. What year, Loudbeard, before we get off the air, another trivia question, what year do you think Larry King got married the first time?
1955.
Oh, so close, 1961.
Damn, that was
And
close.
then they divorced, and then they tied again in 1969. Giggity, giggity.
Woo! Way to end the show.
All right.